People just forget that we exist. I don't know why. I really don't. Everybody eats Chinese food, and then they keep making out as if we're brand new in this country. And it's like, guys, you've been drinking tea and wearing silk for a long time.
It's just great seeing you guys all like this. When I was growing up, it was just me and my mom.
So, where are you from? And I say I'm from Northern Ireland. I'm British. Sometimes I make that point.
Don't you want to see where I grew up? Meet my family, my Ama.
The amount of people that don't know where Singapore is, and it's like, guys, you owned this country. My name's Mia Fu. I am born and bred in London. My mum's Irish, my dad's Chinese Singaporean ethnically, and I am an actor.
My name's Emma. I'm from Northern Ireland. I live in London, and I'm a policy advisor. I was the only Chinese girl, the only East Asian, the only Asian girl in my primary school class. I always felt a bit like an outsider growing up, especially in a small community.
Other kids would sort of point out, like, oh, where are you from? Are you Chinese? Are you Japanese? Are you Korean? Do you eat dog? And I'm kind of like, oh, okay.
I didn't speak English on my first day of school, so that kind of really hindered me fitting in and making friends.
Like I remember once I had a whole bunch of kids sticking little bits of, like stickers that you put on your exercise book, and they'd written on it, "Chink, go home," and things like that, and they just stuck it all in my hair because my hair was quite long.
I didn't go to church, so that was kind of a major thing that people do back home that I wasn't a part of, and things like brownies, Girl Guides, things like that.
And yeah, at the time I was just sort of like, oh God, this is horrible. And I told the teacher and they were like, they're just bullying you, they'll stop at some point. And it wasn't until I got quite a bit older that I realised that that was really bad.
So I feel definitely in the UK when they talk about Asian, they mean a kind of specific Asian, and it's not my kind of Asian.
So I'm not half Irish and half Chinese. I am both Irish and Chinese. And that I shouldn't feel like I'm lacking in either side, and I shouldn't feel like I'm not included in both halves.
My accent doesn't fit what they think my accent should be based on what I look like. And that's a huge issue that I think a lot of second and third generation Asians face in the UK.
Where is she?
We tried to advise her that it wasn't in her interests.
What do you mean?
To leave. I felt like the world had moved on a lot more than it necessarily had. I felt like actually, yeah, these days we are more open to different ethnicities, we're more open to different voices being spoken. But I feel like I didn't realise that East Asian voices were kind of at the bottom of the pecking order. I was told that I wouldn't be able to be in a period drama, and the things that we mostly produce in the UK, or the thing that we mostly export in the UK, is period dramas. And the reason they gave me was because of my ethnicity. And that did put me off for quite a long time. It's an interesting thing where people think that it's a new phenomenon, that people like me could be brand new, and it's like, there's quite a lot of history there that we just don't know about. So that's kind of one of my goals. I'm going to be in a period drama. I might have to write it myself, but I'm going to be in a period drama.
Talks, meetings, meeting new people, and I'm talking away, and they're looking at me and I think they're interested in what I'm saying. Then they ask, so where are you from? And my heart always sinks a little because I know where this is going. And I say I'm from Northern Ireland. I'm British. Sometimes I make that point. And then they'll say, oh, okay, but where are your parents from? And that really annoys me because that shouldn't matter in the conversation you and I are having as individuals.
When I was growing up, it was just me and my mom. But we didn't really have a big family like this. It's a beautiful rain on Eleanor.
It's something I've never seen before in London. I've never seen a full East Asian cast made by a Western studio in the cinema. Like the only other time I've ever seen that kind of thing is if it is a film from Hong Kong, like the kind of VHSs that my dad used to show me, or more lately Korean films that are coming over because they're amazing.
Before all the fuss about Crazy Rich Asians, I hadn't really thought about how East Asians and how people who look like me are represented in Western cinema in particular. It's always been kind of sitcoms, TV shows, things like Gilmore Girls.
You want to get pork buns in the East Village. That's what it is, isn't it?
I was actually thinking of further east.
Like Queens?
Like Singapore.
I think it'll make East Asians in the UK realize it's okay to be visible. I think we've always had this, well, we're here, we're not going to make a fuss. We haven't been as vocal as, say, the black community. And I think when Black Panther came out and people really made a huge fuss about it, it definitely made my friends think, well, what about us?
Often when we see East Asians in Hollywood films, it can be a bit of a stereotype. I've even been asked to put on an East Asian accent, and I've asked to specify what kind, and they've said it doesn't matter.
These people aren't just rich, okay? They're crazy rich. Look, there's new money all over Asia. We got the Beijing billionaires, the Taiwan tycoons, but the Young family, they're old money rich. They had money when they left China in the 1800s, and they went all the way down here. Not there, here.
Little touches like the aunties selling the tissues at the hawker centre, and just little things that no one would ever really notice or care about, but actually it means quite a lot to us, so that was really nice.
I think the movie makers tried really hard and did a great job with representing Asian communities all over the world.
It was a fun, funny rom-com, like really Hollywood, super glamour. It's all about the earrings.
As a third generation Asian, I really related to a lot of the little odd quirks of our culture, like the elderly relative coming to read your face and seeing if your nose or your earlobe is particularly auspicious.
It made a big difference, or it will make a big difference for the future as well, just being able to see people playing characters that have complex lives and an actual storyline and an arc and go through things, and they're not just there to facilitate the story and then disappear again.